We are Nerd Cult Online, and this is Pinball Fx Marvel Collection 1 from Zen Studio. Now, this pack was shared with us, and we're going to be doing this in a series of 2 videos. Each one's going to be sharing basically 5 and 6 total tables. We're starting with Captain America first. Now, Captain America, most of the tables in this pack I've actually played and own most, if not all of them, on the original Pinball FX2. And so I do understand some of the complaints that people had where those licenses didn't carry over, but I do understand that they did a full remaster and updated it for the Xbox One going into this game, which is why it required new purchases for those that wanted them. Now, from what I recall, those original tables were actually available for purchase individually, not as a pack like this. Or if they were a pack, it was only like 2 or 3 tables at a time. It was so long ago, honestly, though, that I don't remember for certain. Now, the Captain America table, basically, the era that you play the table is obviously during World War II. You have the Red Skull there, Baron Zemo, and you're also working with the Howling Commandos. At least I'm pretty sure that's what their names were, or their group was called. And now pretty much every storyline is triggered by the Tesseract back there. And so during this video, you should see me actually trigger that once. But basically, you light up those 3 buttons on the bottom, and then it lowers down a level, and then you have to just hit either the middle button or the button on the right, and then it basically opens up, gives you the Tesseract as available to hit. You hit it with the ball, and then that starts one of your missions. Now, I've actually done that and triggered about 3 different missions now, and so far I have not actually repeated any of them playing this table, but the button on the far right is very difficult to hit intentionally for me, and so I had a hard time actually getting that to become available. Now, the table itself, visually, I love the look. I love the art style. It definitely is very reminiscent of Epstein. I believe it's Epstein that did the art for one of the more, well, not recent now, but basically about 15 to 20 years ago. Did a significant portion of Captain America along Ed Brubaker as the writer. And so this art style is very reminiscent of that. And absolutely love that, because out of all of the Captain America comics that I've read, his art style is the one I felt fit the most. And, I know that some of the classic artists of the time, back when the comic first came out, were very involved, and I know, that classic look was always great, but with Brubaker and Epton together, they just absolutely killed it, and the table is just a lot of fun as well. And honestly, it's one that I've probably sunk more time into than almost any other table. Now, of course, when I mentioned getting the Tesseract hit, that actually does unlock the challenge collectible, and so that just leaves all of the remaining collectibles just for leveling up the table, or earning a collective total of points to reach the different tiers and unlocking that. And so, with that being the case, now all I have to do is just play and not really have to worry about what I do and just rack up the points. And so I actually did some of that after recording for the video, and ended up getting this giant robot, which you actually see there. I believe it's called the Sleeper, as one of the collectibles, and that was actually the first one for, I believe it's hitting 12 or 13 million total points combined, and so overall not incredibly difficult. But overall, thoroughly enjoyed the table. I can honestly say that pretty much every table in this pack is a win. There's some that are far superior to others, and there are a couple that do miss the mark, and so we'll go into each of those as we get to them. But this current table by itself as part of the pack, thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, for those that are looking to purchase this pack, like I said, there's 11 tables, and it's about $30. Where normally, like when you're able to purchase only a single table, you're usually looking at about $5 to $6. So you're getting a more substantial discount, which I think is partly because of the fact that these were previously used on previous titles. Now here we're doing the Doctor Strange table. Now Doctor Strange is a character that I've always liked, who he is and what he does, but never really enjoyed his comics, or specifically how he's written. Now the movies I absolutely loved, and so it's kind of this weird situation where they don't really mesh, but the table itself makes it quite easy to actually trigger many of the challenges. Basically, you'll notice that there are multiple buttons that are single colors, and when you light them up, once you get both of the same color, it drops down and gives you basically a ramp or a hole to hit, and that triggers the related mission. So hitting the green ones basically faces you against Nightmare. The red ones, if I remember correctly, face you against Dormammu. There's one that faces you against Baron Mordo. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I'm pretty certain it's not Mordor, because that's Lord of the Rings. But Mordo, and then the other one, which I'm assuming is the one that will trigger the Shuma-Gorath event, and I believe that one's the blue ones, but I definitely could be wrong there. Since I've never actually hit that one, I can't say with absolute certainty. Now, the table itself is actually pretty entertaining, and despite it being a character that I typically don't enjoy the comics of, and this clearly being more comic focused than movie focused, and so with that being the case, there's Nightmare, like I mentioned, and so with that being the case, it's not one that I see holding my attention for long periods of time, just because of the subject matter itself and my general disinterest for the comic book storylines of his. But the collectibles themselves, the challenge is triggering the Shuma-Gorath event or mission, and like I said, since I've never actually triggered that one, I'm not 100% certain that is how you do it. But again, the table itself is definitely fun. It's very reactive, and it's very enjoyable. Visuals are great. I love the effects of like the ghosts floating by and things like that. Overall, definitely very solid table. I would probably put it middle of the pack, as far as if I were to rank all of them. But overall, good solid table, and now I just got to figure out how to trigger Shuma-Gorath. because I've actually unlocked a couple of the challenge, the points challenges already. Now here we have Fantastic Four. Now Fantastic Four is another one that's very similar to Doctor Strange for me, where I've enjoyed the movies, at least the original run that they did with Chris Evans as the Human Torch, but most of the comics definitely fall short for me. Enjoyed the characters and how they interact with some of the other groups and other comics, is where they're more of a cameo. Like specifically in Civil War, I thought they were handled fantastically, but I've yet to find a storyline within the normal Marvel universe using the Fantastic Four in their own series that is able to basically hold my attention for, multiple storylines. And, but that doesn't stop me from enjoying the table. I have not actually looked into how to trigger the challenge on this one, or to unlock it rather. But I imagine it probably has something to do with the Doctor Doom event. I just know that completing or initiating the event does not do it, because one of the times that I played, I did trigger the event. And basically what you want to do is, after you have that started, you send a ball up to the Baxter building, which basically supercharges it with Dr. Doom's energy, and then you have to basically hit it up to Dr. Doom's area that triggers his event in order for it to actually hit him and hurt him. I'm guessing that that's probably going to be how we unlock that challenge. The table itself, definitely well designed, well put out. It's definitely a lot more enjoyable, in my opinion, than the Doctor Strange one, as far as just gameplay, replayability, and the fact that you have the entire group there, including Doctor Doom, definitely makes for a great cast. But like I said, typically Fantastic Four storylines fall short for me. But this table, I definitely rank it above Doctor Strange for sure.
Let's attack him with his own power! Let's attack him with his own power! I hope you didn't have anything important in there, Richards. Here I come! Get out of my way! Skill shot.
Now we're on to the Iron Man table. Now, I love the look of this table. A fantastic version of Whiplash. The table itself just basically just screams like it's part of Iron Man's armor itself. And there's a lot of missions that you can actually complete on this. This is another one I have not looked into how to trigger the challenge. But visually, this is definitely one of the best tables in the pack. Now, the Mandarin, I thought he looked a little goofy, but I have not read a ton of his storylines within the Iron Man comics, so I can't say with certain if that's actually, a typical costume for him, and I'm just not aware of it, but definitely not a fan. Now, the table itself, it definitely responds very well. There's a ton of ramps, ton of places to sink the ball up and score points. The only problem is consistently hitting the ones that you need to for the missions. Definitely is a bit difficult at times because I tend to either hit that post in between, or I hit the ramp next to the one I need to go to, and so at that point it becomes an issue of getting the ball there despite the timer. And
you are much stronger.
Going through, I do love that you get to see Iron Man do the full suit up, and then when you lose the ball and lose the mission, he then steps out of his armor like normal and has it basically fully disassembled. I think that visually this is probably the most armor-like of the tables as far as fitting within the style of the armor that the hero is wearing itself. But with everything that's on the table and all the mission possibilities, the unfortunate downside is that I found playing on this one a little bit more on the dull side, because the missions themselves are not super dynamic, and so it becomes an issue of just focusing more on getting points more than anything else. But so that being said, visually it's a fantastic table, definitely one of the best in the pack. Gameplay wise, again, it's a little on the dull side.
It's a bit early, but cheers.
Ball saved.
Come on, ladies, let's dance.
Enough of this foolishness! Die!
Pepper, serious need a repair here.
Now this is the Spider-Man table. Now this table itself is one that I've probably played more than almost any of the tables out of this pack. The only exception to that really being the Wolverine table. Now this was also the only table that on the previous version of the game where I had these tables that I was able to get over, I believe it was like 100 million points on my first on a single table run, and had also at the time unlocked all of the achievements. Now it's been so long since I've done that, I don't even remember how to do most of that, most of those challenges specifically, and get those. And so visually, it definitely is a very inviting table. It makes me want to go back and keep playing it just so I can re-achieve those challenges and missions that I've done before, that just were a hell of a lot of fun. And having Spider-Man's snarky attitude and jokes and quips the whole time definitely helps. And I thought that the voice cast that they used for the different villains, I thought were absolutely on point and did a fantastic job. The table itself is a lot of fun to play. I especially love just hitting the ramp that actually triggers the ball on the left side. Kind of looks like that it is going through some webbing to get back to you. So I've always thought that was a very cool visual, something I thoroughly enjoyed. And if I'm working on trying to just score a lot of points, I would definitely sink the ball there more consistently to do that. But obviously, going after the missions and completing those is where the real points are going to be at. But overall, great table, great audios, great visuals. Love the layout, and definitely look forward to playing this one some more.
Not going down that easily. And down goes the spider.
And for the last table in the pack, or at least in this video for the pack, we have Blade. Now, Blade, for those that don't know, is a basically half vampire, half human, known as the Daywalker. He essentially has all of the perks of being a vampire without nearly all, I believe with almost none of the downsides. So yeah, he does have decreased aging, so you know, he doesn't age as quickly as everybody else. At least I could be wrong on that one, but that is what I remember.
Trust no one,
now,
especially vampires.
The
Skill shot.
comics of Blade, I've never really enjoyed. Like, don't get me wrong, they are some of them are very well written. I've read.
I feel my strength returning. Thanks, Blade.
Mostly because they were tying into other stories that I was reading at the time, and the art
Look
style
out, it's Frost. Wake
of
up,
Howard
Hannibal.
Chaykin,
You can't stop me this easily.
which is very
Tonight,
similar to
I transcend this immortal
actual table
coil
itself,
to become
but
the first vampiric deity,
what I
a
would
god
call
among
runway.
the undead.
You know, the main center image on the table very much looks like his art style, and you know, by far he's one of my least favorite artists when it comes to comics, and so
Who's there?
you know, it definitely takes a lot of the enjoyment from those comics away from me.
Silver balls are
But,
expensive,
you know, they
but
typically
worth
are
every
well-written.
penny.
At the same time, though, you know, how
Gotcha.
many stories can really read
Hang on, buddy.
for him without them just getting repetitive too quickly? Now, I know that's the same with comics in general when it comes to superheroes, but you know, for some reason, his always just
It'll
seem
take more than a
just
bite to stop me.
regurgitate the same stories over and over, and so you know,
You
that
can't
also
hide.
took away from the character and enjoying him. The table itself, though, other than
Hurry up.
my complaint about the artwork on that part,
An extra silver
it's a
ball!
fantastic table. It's a lot of fun trying to trigger some missions, you know, fighting against the big vampire and trying to defeat him and trigger some of the weapons and things like that. This is one that I know I have spent hours playing this table on the Xbox 360.
So,
on Pinball
this
Fx
thing is
2,
supposed to guide me to
and
their
absolutely
lairs?
loved it.
All right! We
And
scared
so
one
overall,
away.
It was a great table, very thematic. I love that. the
It'll
whole table
take more
goes
than a
dark
bite to
at
stop
night,
me.
Partway through playing on it, and
Shoot
then
again.
Kind of
Skill
goes with
shot.
the whole vibe, you know, where you know, he's typically fighting them at night. Honestly, don't know when Blade sleeps because you know he's still
Busted.
doing stuff during the day since he's the Daywalker.
Thanks, Blade.
But overall, it is a great table, and you know, very thoroughly enjoyed playing on it again. And now I just need to go back and actually start completing those missions
Good
again.
work.
You can't stop
'Cause I
me this easily.
believe that this is another one that I actually completed all the achievements
The
for,
apocalypse is at
from
hand,
all the Marvel
and
tables,
I
and
am its harbinger.
it's a lot of fun.